My video for the 26th of February 2018 is entitled Connecting to the Natural World. Anastasia raised her son differently than most of us have been raised. Quite simply, he was raised with love instead of fear. For millennia, humanity has been controlled by fear, which prevents us from experiencing real love and from recognizing our connection to the natural world. At 9 years old, Volodya was fearless, not only playing with animals we consider wild, but having them perform tasks in service to him. Like Anastasia, he is in the forefront, not of creating a new civilization, but of restoring society to our natural talents, gifts, and abilities. The civilization of 25,000 years ago had no war, no disease, and no money. Of course, money is at the root of human slavery, and the same beings use money to promote war and disease for profit. What will it take for us to wake up? Russia is the world's largest producer of natural, non-genetically modified food. If and when we can start connecting to the natural world, we can begin healing the world. Indeed, I was very much impressed by the number of people that turned out. It was the largest group I think we've had on a Sunday evening in quite some time. And there was a lot of discussion, and a few of the other people have actually read the Anastasia books. One of them has read it 3 or 4 times, and she had a lot of information to share with us all. And there were some other people. In fact, I loaned out the first copy to a lady that wanted to get it, and others are wanting to know where they can purchase them. And we're actually going to be starting an Anastasia study group that's going to meet once or twice a month and just talk about Anastasia. Folks, we need to understand the revelations that this recluse from the Siberian taiga has given us and gifted us with. And as I said, her son, now 9 years old, who was kept from his father for a time till Anastasia could lay some groundwork with him and not have him polluted by modern thinking, which Vladimir was still very much encased in that. And in fact, he thought that he was being mind controlled by Anastasia, and went out at one point to hire a prostitute and everything. And Anastasia knew what was happening and rescued him at that particular time, as she continued to work with him till he could grasp some of the ideas that she and now Volodya were sharing with him. Volodya wanted to have a sister and was concerned because he had planned to, when he got a little bit older, and again, this is when he's 9, he was planning to go into the city and find a wife, and he needed a sister to take care of his animals, which he, from his point of view, had become somewhat dependent on him. They were his friends, and he had developed that friendship from the time he was an infant, from the time he was crawling. His mother, Anastasia, allowed him to play with nature, to be in nature, just as she was raised by her grandfather and great-grandfather, who raised her by observation, not by interference, not by teaching her what was wrong, never instilling a sense of fear. And when we don't fear, animals will not hurt us. And there has been testimony of that from people that are babies. They're not fearless. So a baby can actually be raised by, quote, wild animals, and even nursed by animals that are considered not domesticated. But all animals can be domesticated if we get out of the fear thing and the manipulation thing of using money and using the control grid to manipulate us to do things which are against our nature as human beings. Now, we may think that our nature is to be fearful, our nature is to be warlike, our nature is to seek dominance and control over others. That's not our nature. Our real nature is cooperation. And that is currently in the 21st century being produced in Russia, that has thousands of kin domains, K-I-N-S, kins domains, where they're deeded this land for life and to be kept in their family. And many people in Russia are actually moving into the country out of the cities, as the author of the book, or the editor of the book, Leonid Sharashkin, I'm probably butchering the name, but in any case, he's been on some programs and stuff like that, including, I forget the one in Australia now, and I said it to just earlier tonight, but my mind has holes in it, and I forget things. But in any case, when he was introduced in Australia, giving a lecture on the Anastasia books, the man who introduced him said that if you only read one book in your life, read Anastasia. Now, of course, it's 9 books, but it is that transformative. And his dad was a famous author. I wish I could remember the name of the group, but anyway, that was on YouTube. I couldn't find it when I looked for it earlier today, but I was without power, as I think I said, for an hour and a half. I know I said it earlier this evening. And again, I'm making the video at night, and I'm tired. It's been a long day. Folks, I encourage you to get the books that are colored, not colorful. The other books have been doctored and watered down somewhat, the ones with the black covers. These are the best ones, the ones that are very colorful. They're the best ones. And they're the ones that you need to get now. There's a book 10 that's been written, but it's not been released in English. And that's because Russia is so far ahead of the United States in producing natural food and in learning how to live in harmony with the life of the planet. And the planet is a living planet. That's one of the things that Anastasia made very clear. We live on a planet that's alive. It's not just dead minerals. It's not just, it's not a dead planet. It's a living planet. It's a living organism. And everything on it that is natural is alive. Now, there's a lot of unnatural things that may not have life the way that Anastasia is talking about it. It may not be connected to the loving creator that we refer to often as God. And I have people write to me and say, only Jesus, only Jesus. Well, even Jesus was not what we've been told. There was a lot of things that have been modified in that story as well, because it's about control. And all religions have elements of control built in. And of course, fear is the motivator. We do things because we're afraid. And I have other things that I'm going to share in another video about the next book. I think that one was the last book of the 9, the first 9 that were written. And I will be doing some things about that in the next video, which I'll probably record earlier tomorrow. In any case, folks, if you can find these books, I encourage you to read them. They are transformational if you're in a state of mind that allows yourself to be challenged by thinking outside of the boxes that we've been trained to think within. What more can I say? Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.